For all of my matcha obsessed people out there right now, this recipe with over 10 grams of protein per serving is going to be your new favorite midday treat. These are my high protein matcha power balls covered in vegan white chocolate. Let's get to the recipe. You're going to love these because they are naturally caffeinated with the matcha powder. They also pack a nice protein punch from the very clean vegan protein powder we're going to be using today, which is Birdman Vanilla, and they're ever so nicely sweet, making them feel a little treat-like because of the vegan white chocolate covering. They're also not too big and not too small. One is just enough. I've made them medium size to make them the perfect portion to just have one, with also carrying 10 grams of protein. I like to gather all of my ingredients into bowls, making this recipe super quick when we combine it all in our handy dandy food processor. In a bowl, I like to combine most of the dry ingredients, starting with a 1/4 cup of oat flour, followed by 3/4 cup of vegan vanilla protein powder. We're gonna then add a 1/2 cup of almond flour and a tablespoon of chia seed for omega-3s and a nice crunch. The next ingredient that I like to keep separately because I like to combine it with the dry ingredients, you can also toss it in with the dry ingredients I suppose if you want, are 10 pitted Medjool dates that have been softened to make sure to take that pit out, because if you combine it and you keep it in there, it's going to be a mess and you don't want to eat broken up Medjool date pit. In addition, you're going to gather 2 tablespoons of high quality matcha powder. You can reduce this quantity depending on how much caffeine you'd like to consume, and about a 1/2 teaspoons worth of salt or a pinch of it. Our wet ingredients will be a teaspoon of vanilla paste and 1/2 cup of cashew butter. You can use any type of nut butter you prefer, but cashew is my preferred because it lends a neutral flavor. For these kinds of recipes, it's important to have either plant milk or water on the side because the firmness of your dough will depend on how juicy, I guess, your dates are and how much liquid you're adding. My dough did end up being a little dry, so I added eventually a couple tablespoons worth of soy milk. Just know this in the back of your mind that have liquid handy in case your mixture looks too dry. This will help it combine into one singular mass. In your food processor that's been fitted with the S blade, which is the sharp blade that looks like an S, you will add all of your dry ingredients and your Medjool dates. You can add the oat flour, the protein powder, the almond flour, the dates, and also the matcha powder and the salt at this stage. It really doesn't matter. What you do want to make sure you do is that those dates break down as much as possible. You do not want them to be firm pieces. I've made this as a mistake in different trial runs of these recipes, and it's best to add the dates with the dry ingredients and process them very thoroughly so they combine really nicely and those dates break down. Periodically wipe down your food processor because it might seem as though the dough is getting stuck in certain places of the mixture, and when it seems to be really nice and it's processing really well across the bowl of the food processor, that's when you want to add your cashew butter and your vanilla paste. Add these ingredients after you know those dates have been nicely processed, and process until a dough starts to form. As I previously mentioned, my dough was not combining into one mass, so I had to get about a 1/4 cup's worth of soy milk and a little bit of water. You can do whatever you want. Either is fine. It doesn't really adjust the flavor of the dough, and combine until your dough really comes together and it looks like a proper dough, almost like bread dough. When it looks like that, your dough has been properly made and you can stop processing. Really nice texture. It's like spongy, earthy because of the matcha with a white chocolate topping. Va a estar maravilloso. Wow. Your dough will look green, dullish green. It won't be as vibrant as the original matcha powder, which is just what you want. Take out the dough from your food processor and, no surprise, level out, measure out 8 individual power balls. You can use your eye or you can use a scale to measure in grams. This is completely up to you. I like to just eyeball it for simplicity's sake. Now at this stage, I chose to just refrigerate my Matcha Power Balls overnight because I didn't want to deal with them. But if you have time, you can go ahead and proceed to the covering stage after about 30 minutes of refrigeration. Once your Power Balls have set, I like to add white chocolate. Vegan white chocolate, they sell it at Whole Foods. They probably sell it at any specialty food store around the world, hopefully. Let's hope, because it honestly tastes the same as regular white chocolate. Regardless, I took about 3/4 cup to a cup of vegan white chocolate chips and melted the combination in the microwave for 30-second increments and agitating after every 30-second interval, making sure to wipe it down with a spoon until the mixture is creamy and super smooth. At this point, you can cover your power balls. Get out a nice baking mat or some parchment paper and some flat surface to put your power balls on, and then take one individual power ball and submerge it into the vegan white chocolate mixture and do it for each of your 8 power balls. Gently place them onto the baking mat and proceed to refrigerate them for another 30 minutes or overnight, depending on what you prefer, to make sure that your outer covering is completely solid. This time we're not going to be adding any toppings while the chocolate is not firm. In contrast to the other Powerball recipes, we'll be adding a light dusting of matcha powder once the balls have formed. After everything is set, take a small sieve and about a teaspoon, maybe even a 1/4 teaspoon of matcha powder, you really don't need that much, and carefully sieve and cover your power balls with just a touch of matcha powder. This signals to whomever is going to enjoy your treat that it's matcha flavored. I definitely learned this over the years of baking, that it's nice to give your eater a sort of visual cue of what's on the inside. These power balls are delicious. They have that earthy bitterness of the matcha flavor, but I believe that green matcha is a perfect combination both in aesthetics and flavor with white chocolate. All right, we're gonna do a little taste test, but with my food's toughest critic, my husband George. Cheers. Oh, it smells good.
That's good to me.
I think they have a fabulous umami flavor. The dough tastes like matcha, and I think matcha and white chocolate are an excellent pairing. Which ones have been your favorite so far?
Probably the lemon ones.
Lemon poppy seed. Go check out that video. It's a darn good recipe. But for all of my girlies out there, or my broskies, or my people that are loving matcha right now, this is the perfect snack for you. So I know you're gonna love these. They're perfect for my caffeine fiends, because I know I am a caffeine fiend, even though I'd like to stop consuming so much caffeine. And they're the perfect treat you can take on a plane to work. Give them to your kid. Maybe not the caffeinated ones, but you can give them the previous ones that I've made. They're also incredibly satiating, and they will hold you over between meals, making them some of my favorite snacks out there to make for sure. Let me know in the comments what you think of this recipe. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for recipes completely free to you. And what other recipes should I try? Should I make some more power balls, or should I try something else that's been on your mind? This has been Rebecca Martinez. I hope you've enjoyed this recipe as much as I've enjoyed making it for you all, and I'll see you next time.